Hi, and welcome to our Facebook Friday. We will get started in just a second. Let me make sure I have everything together because you never know. Some days I do, and some days it's a little more challenging. Okay, I think we have everything ready. Let's see. Actually, let me get one more of our large dimensionals to make sure I have plenty. Here we go. Let's see. I think. All right. Sorry about that. I wanted to make sure I had these before we got started because I'm sure I'm going to run out today. I hope you guys have had a great week, and at least it's Friday and it's the weekend, which is always nice whenever we get to that point. All right, so today we're going to be making 3 cards using the Sweet Jar bundle. And this bundle is nice because it comes with the stamp set as well as the punch. And we are, Stampin' Up! Is having some great specials right now, so I will go over those toward the end of our, whenever we get finished making our cards, just to kind of go through that with you. But I think that there's just a really sweet deal, for lack of a better word, that has to do with anything that belongs to a sweet, which is really nice. So this Sweet Jar bundle is really cute. It has all different things, and you're going to get to see a couple of different ones today. We're going to make one that has candles, one with jelly beans, and one with clovers. So we're going to use several of the sets in there. There's also a stamp in here that uses the hearts that we're not going to use today, but it is really cute as well. So we have happy birthday, miss you bunches, a little treat for you, sending a little blank your way, and then you can insert the words party, luck, or love in any of those in that blank that's right there. And then again, you have this jar, and it's really nice because this punch cuts out the jar as well as the lid. And so it's just a really cute set. So let's go ahead and get started on our cards, and then I will walk through what the specials are for you this week. We are going to be using the Celebratory Sips paper for our cards today, and I just love this set. It has just a lot of versatility. It's super cute in and of itself. We're not going to be using the bundle that goes with it today, but again, just to let you know, anything that belongs to a suite in the month of June is buy one, get one 50% off, and you get the lesser one at 50% off. So if you want this paper and some of the embellishments that go with it, or if you want the bundle and this paper, then you would get the paper for half price and the bundle at full price. So, but the paper is just super cute, and that's what we're going to be using on our cards today. It has a lot of our new in colors in it, with the Secret Seed, the Darling Duckling, Timid Tiger, Strawberry Slush. So you'll get to, in the cloud cover. So you will get to see all of those today in what we're going to be making. But I just love this paper. It's bright and cheery and summery and makes you want to go sit on a beach somewhere or by a pool and just relax. So it's kind of fun. So the first card that we're going to make today has a white cardstock base, and it is a normal card at 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then you will have a piece of the Secret C cardstock along with some DSP that is from the Celebratory Sips set designer series paper, and it's super cute. So we're going to adhere this to the Secret C. So let's do that first, and then we will put that on the front of our card base. So I'm just going to throw some glue on the back of here. I love this paper. I did a set with this about a month ago, and for a one-day retreat that I had, and I just fell in love with it. Super fun. And then we're going to take this and put this in the center of our card. So let's grab some adhesive. I did not pop this up because I'm going to pop up a couple of other things on it, and I didn't want to make it any thicker than it already is. There we go. Just adhere that down. All right. So then the next thing you're going to have is with the nested essentials dies, you will have a piece of basic white cardstock that is already die cut for you. And we are going to use the stamp set, or the stamp that says sending a little blank your way. And we're going to actually make this one a birthday card. So the first thing we're going to do is use we're going to use the Secret C ink. I love this ink color. To me, it reminds me of the old chalkboards. Hey, Tammy. It's not really a black and it's not really a navy. It's kind of in between. But we're going to use this, and we're going to stamp toward the left side of this. Okay. And then we're going to use our strawberry slush and stamp the word party right in the middle here, which is kind of fun. Let me get the right stamp. Yep, there it is. I'm using a lot more stamps today than I normally do. And so I tried to lay all these out, but I always want to make sure I have the right one so we don't wind up with the wrong word. So then we're just going to insert the word party right in the middle of this. There we go. And so now our tag has sending a little party your way. Okay, so I'm just going to let that dry for a second. While that's drying, we are going to use the jar stamp, and we are going to stamp one of the jars. So I am going to use the Secret C ink just to have everything kind of pulling together. Hey, Marianne. And I am going to use that. So we will just stamp that. And then, you know what, while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the top of the jar lid. Oops, actually, I want to do that in a pink and not in the Secret C. So let me clean that really quick and then get the right color. Let me grab this. I have a feeling those other chamois that I have sitting up there are probably not wet. I used this one last night, so I know it's ready to go. All right. There we go. All right, so I am going to go ahead and stamp this, and then we'll use the punch and punch this out. I really like this punch because it's really easy to use. You know, sometimes, and I think it's just because I'm challenged, not the punches, but sometimes I have a hard time getting things to line up. But on this one, it's a little easier. So I'm just going to flip it onto the back. And the reason I put this one over here is because you'll see whenever I punch this out, it's actually going to punch out the handle too up here. And so I didn't want that to be too much. And this is actually, I need to cut this just a little. All right, let's try that. And I just was a little bit too far back to where I couldn't get it quite. And then I usually line it up by the top and then just kind of squeeze it down just enough to where I can still move it a little bit if I want to. And then you just punch it out. But see how it punches out the handle also? And so what you end up having is it's like that. And unless you know exactly where to put that, you're probably going to mess it up. Or at least I do. So then I'm going to punch this out separately. And there we go. There's our lid to our jar. Set that to the side because we're going to need that. All right, so now we're going to stamp the inside of our jar. And we're going to use Pretty in Pink. And this is really kind of fun. So there is a stamp in here that has three, I don't know if you can see that. They have three individual candles. And so we're going to stamp those first and put those in the Pretty in Pink and just kind of put them in the middle. And then what's kind of nice is that they have like a little bit of space in between the first and the second candle. I don't know if you can see this. And so now we're going to go in and we're going to use Strawberry Slush and put an individual candle in between those just to kind of give it a little bit of variety. And obviously if you wanted to, you could use the same color, but we're going to spruce it up just a little bit. So then you have a stamp with just a single candle. And so we're going to stamp one here, and then we will do one on either side. We'll do one there, and then one more right here. Fun. I love these kind of things. Now, to make it even more fun, we're going to use Daffodil Delight, and we are going to stamp the little candle glows, which is really kind of fun, at the top of each one of these candles. The nice thing about this is that even if it's not perfectly straight, because these candles are all so close to each other, they end up kind of just, you know, sometimes whenever you have a candle going, the flame tends to go in different directions. It's not always straight up and down. So you can just tell people you were trying to make it look realistic if they question your candle flames. So there we go. And then let's do one more. There we go. So now we have our little candle flames. How fun is that? Super cute. So now that we have that, and we have our Pretty in Paint, I cannot talk, Pretty in Pink, not pink, jar lid, we will have that. So before we adhere any of that, let's go ahead and pop this up on dimensionals. And so I am just going to use some of my larger dimensionals and put a few of these on the back of here. we'll talk about a lot of this again at the end. But this month, there is a fantastic sale on anything that belongs to a suite. So, for example, since this paper is part of the Celebratory Sips, if you purchase it and anything else that belongs in a suite, you will get the lesser priced item at half price, which is super nice. So, and with an order of $40 or more with me, then, hey, Anna, I just saw you. You will get a free card kit to make the 3 cards that we are putting together tonight. I will send that to you. So, before we adhere this down, I want to put some ribbon behind this. And so what I like to do whenever I do this is just take some of my seal and kind of crisscross it and have it go across the back like that. And then that way I can kind of place the ribbon where I want it to be and kind of play with it until it looks the way I want it to look. And so in this case, I want it to be more vertical. So I am just going to do that and then fold it and bring it down a little bit. And then one more loop up. If I can get it to go. There we go. And then I'll use dimensionals on the back to kind of hold it down. And we will just use our snips on this. And let's see. Let me grab some dimensionals because that one piece is not wanting to stay. I can feel it trying to move. So we'll just use some of these on here to hold this down and put everything in place. And then also to give it just a little bit of height on the card, which is always kind of fun. There we go. That should be enough. Hey, Odette, it's good to see you. All right, so then we are going to, adhere this. And then I'm going to take the lid to our jar and put it right here. You know, I should, well, that's okay. We'll just kind of adjust it. This is one nice thing that's nice about this ribbon is you can kind of adjust it. And if it's not exactly where you want, just take a glue dot and you can kind of force it over to the side that you want it on, which is what I'm going to do. There we go. And then we will take this and kind of make it go that way because I want to make sure that my jar can stick on there and not be in the way. So there we go. And then I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals also and use the small dimensionals on this. Okie doke, and we'll do this one. I just saw your message, Odette. You're so funny. All right, and then we will put this right here. Okay, and then let's use a few of our in color. I just love the colors in these flat pearls that are so pretty. And we're going to use a couple of different ones. So let's do one large one that is the strawberry slush. And then we'll use one of the smaller cloud cover ones and put right here. And then we'll use one of the small secret C's and put it down here. So this is card number 1. So this is our sending a little party your way. And then on the inside, you can stamp happy birthday with the, I don't have that stamp pulled out, but it is part of this sweet jar bundle, and it just has happy birthday, and you can put that in there, which is really kind of fun. So that is card number 1. All right, so card number 2, I love the colors in this card. I just think they're really pretty. We're going to use a strawberry slush background, or card base rather, and then we will use a piece of white, basic white, some more of our DSP from the Celebratory Sips, and then we'll have a scrap piece to do our jar, and then you will have a circle that is die cut from the Spotlight on Nature dies. So let's go ahead and adhere, and this card is going to open like this. So it is 4 1/4 by 11 scored at 5 1/2. So let's go ahead and adhere the DSP to the basic white. And then we are going to adhere this to the center of our card front, which is the strawberry slush. That's probably, I don't know. I think I like all, I always say this is my favorite in color, but then I start working with a different one and I'm like, oh, I just love this one. So I think they're all really fun this year, but obviously I do tend to like this strawberry slush quite a bit. And I'm not usually a pink person, but I really like this. I just think it's really pretty. Okay, so then you're going to take your die cut circle that will be in your kit, and we are going to stamp a little treat for you. And I am just going to use, put this right side up, I am going to use Memento Black ink for this. And I'm just going to put it toward the bottom. There we go. And then on our scrap paper, let me clean my stamp from a little while ago. And we are going to stamp the jar and also the lid. And we will do both of those in the Memento Black. Do this. There we go. All right. So, and I'm just going to use this scratch paper that is basic white cardstock that I have here. All right. And I'm going to punch this out before I stamp the lid so that, or the jar lid, so that I don't wind up messing up the one that I've already stamped. Here we go. Had to find where I put my punch. All right, we're just going to line this up. There we go. And I'm not going to use that lid because I'm going to stamp a different one. If you want to be brave and put those on the same thing and try to stamp them that way, you can do that. I have not been real successful, so I tend to just stamp them in 2 different, whoops, let me get that inked up a little better. There we go. I usually just do it in 2 different steps. I find that that works a little better for me. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that stamp real quick because I know I'm going to be using it again in a minute. So let me do that. There we go. All right, so let me punch this jar lid out real quick. Okay, doke. So now what we're going to do on this one is we are going to use the Pretty in Pink ink, and we are going to stamp the little, set that off to the side. We are going to stamp the little jelly beans, which is kind of fun. I think these are so stinking cute. And I love the way these stamps make it easy, because since it's the clear stamps, you can see through it to see where you're stamping. And then I'm going to use the strawberry slush to do the little dots so that it will be a little bit darker. Try to get this straight since I'm trying to look over my phone. There we go. There we go. It's not too bad. And then this is kind of what it looks like up close, which is kind of fun. All right, so I am going to pop this up on dimensionals just to give us a little bit of height on this. So let me grab those. And you can use as few or as many as you would like. I have a little pile of these sitting right here on the corner, and I always think, man, I hope you can't see my little pile because it looks so messy. But, all right, and then I'm just going to put this in the center and kind of press it down. And then I'm going to also pop this up on dimensionals as well. So we'll do a couple. I love this set. I just think it's really fun. It's so appropriate for so many things, especially, and it's nice because it's in the annual catalog. So, you know, next year it'll still be around whenever we get ready to have St. Patty's Day and Easter and all of that. So you'll be able to use it for all of those holidays. And then I'm going to use dimensionals and use for the jar lid to make it the same height as the jar. But I'm going to use the smaller dimensionals on it. And I usually just do about 3 because that pretty much, whoops, covers up the back of this. Doesn't take a lot. Do one more. Okie doke. And then I am going to just put this at the top. All right. And then I'm going to take our, I love this ribbon. It's called Gold Striped Ribbon. And I think it's Gold Striped Mesh maybe. But it's so pretty. And, you know, when I use this Celebratory Sips paper for my one-day retreat last month, we used this ribbon for our projects, and we actually used the blends and we colored this ribbon, and it came out so pretty. In fact, we actually used the strawberry slush blends on it, and it was just super, super pretty. And it kind of gives it a different texture, but I was thinking as we get closer to fall, it'll be nice to be able to use different colors on it and just really give it that fall look with the gold. Makes me think of the leaves and the way they change colors and all of that. But I think it'll be really pretty to use for that. So don't be surprised if I'm using that come September, October. All right, so then I'm just going to use a mini glue dot and put this kind of on the corner of our die cut circle. And then this time, let's use some of our strawberry slush embellishments. And so I'm going to do a big, I probably should have lowered my jar just a little bit, but you can put yours in whatever spot on your card you think it looks best. And then we'll do this one right here. And so this is card number 2, a little treat for you. How fun. All right. And then our final card uses the Timid Tiger card base, and it uses one of our new, well, it's not new, one of our embossing folders, which is the Forever, I think it's called Forever Plaid, but super cute. So on this one, you're going to have your card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then you'll have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 Timid Tiger cardstock that will be embossed for you. So we're going to adhere this to our card base. I love this embossing folder, and I really don't use it super often, but it's really nice whenever I do use it, and I think, ooh, why don't I use this more often? All right, so we're just going to glue that down, and then next you're going to have a piece of garden green. I had to think about what the color was. Garden green cardstock, and then another piece of the Designer Series paper that comes out of the Celebratory Sips. And so we are going to adhere that together. So let's, whoops, put this right here. There we go. All right, and before you adhere this down, there's a couple other steps that we want to do. You will have a piece of Granny Apple Green that is using the arches or the arch dies, and we are going to, before we adhere this, I want to go ahead and stamp it. So we are going to stamp Sending a Little Luck Your Way. So let me clean this off from earlier because we used it with Secret C before, and now we're going to use it with black. So let me clean this off real quick. And let me grab this. And we are just going to stamp the Sending a Little kind of at the top in the center. And then we want to use our garden green ink to stamp the word luck. So let me grab that. Here we go. Where's our green? Oh, here we go. I was like, where did my green go? But then I realized I set it over there. All right, so we have the word luck. We're just going to ink that up. And there we go. And then we are going to glue this down to the center of this Designer Series paper. I love this paper. And I'm talking about the Designer Series paper. I just think it's so pretty, and it's so easy and versatile to use for so many different things. So it's kind of fun. All right, so before we adhere this to our card, we're going to take some of our gold ribbon, and we're going to just wrap this around here. And what I like to do whenever I do this, you can do it one of two ways. You can either use your double-sided tape, or you can use your Stampin' Seal. And I like to get it started with the Stampin' Seal usually. And I'm just going to kind of, whoops, tuck this back here and have it grab that, and then wrap this around and have it grab it on the back, and then go ahead and trim off my ribbon. And then what I like to do to make sure that the ribbon doesn't pop off is use my double-sided tape. Let me find the end. And then make what we call a sandwich, to where we just put that over that so that it doesn't come loose and end up being somewhere that you didn't intend for it to be. All right, and so then now I am just going to glue this down because it's already going to have some height to it, so I don't want to add any more dimension to it. So I'm just going to peel these off and then glue this down. So let me add some glue. There we go. And then put this on the center of our card. There we go. All right. And then, so that you don't have to watch me stamp another jar, since you've already gotten to see that twice, I have one, that is already cut. We do need to do the lid though, so let me grab a piece. I thought I had a piece. Oh, I do, right here. Let me go ahead and stamp a lid so that we can do that. And punch that out really quick. Move that over. And then we will stamp the inside of our jar. And this time we're going to use the clovers to go with the fact that we're wishing someone luck. So I am going to use the Granny Apple Green, but I do want to stamp off. I don't want to do it full strength. It was funny, when I was designing this the other day, I thought, oh, well, Granny Apple Green is not that dark, so I'll just use the Granny Apple Green. And oh my goodness, it was so much darker than what I was expecting. So I was like, well, maybe not. So I'm going to stamp off and then stamp into, see how dark that is? And then stamp in the jar. And it doesn't look like there's a lot of ink on here, but surprisingly there's more than you think. So see, it's still got a fair amount. And then now what we're going to do is use the Garden Green ink and stamp our clovers. Let me ink this up again. Sometimes whenever I ink it, it doesn't look like it has it on there as much as I would like. Okay, let's see. There we go. And then what's nice is you can also use this individual clover stamp that they have, and we can stamp a couple of extra little clovers, which is kind of fun. So we'll do one like that, and then we will do another one that is kind of over here on this side. There we go. And it just kind of gives it a little bit of extra. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead and put some dimensionals on the back of this. And again, like we've said a couple times before, this is one of those stamp sets that will really be something that you can use throughout the year. It could be something that you give someone, you know, if they're going through some type of challenge, or, you know, whether they're it's St. Patty's Day and you want to celebrate that, you can use it for holidays like Easter. I mean, there's just a lot of different times of year that you can use this, which is kind of fun. And then obviously we didn't use the hearts today, but there's also one with hearts, so you could make it around Valentine's, or you could just send it to brighten someone's day. So there's a lot of different ways to use that, which is always nice. All right. And then let's put this kind of on the top. If I can get my fingers to work right. There we go. Okie doke. And then I'm going to take the gold ribbon and just tie a bow . There we go. And just make it as large or as small as you would like. Go ahead and trim the edge of that. Use our mini glue dot and attach this to the side. There we go. And then let's use some of our, this time I'm going to use the cloud cover embellishments that are on our package, just because I kind of like the way they pick up the green a little more, and it just kind of gives us a little bit of dimension without being too much. And then we'll do one of these maybe down here. So this is card number 3, okay? So here are the 3 cards that we made tonight. And again, if you would like a card kit to make these cards that we did, if you will place an order of $40 or more. Thanks, Marianne. I really like that one too. It's super fun. An order of $40 or more, I will send you a card kit to make all 3 of these cards. It will include everything you see here, including enough embellishments and ribbon to assemble your cards. And so just to let you know some of what Stampin' Up! Has going on this month, we've kind of mentioned that on the suites, anything that belongs to a suite. So it can be the paper, the ribbon, the embellishments, or the entire suite. And obviously the bundles or the stamps and the dies, if you want to buy those separately, you will get the first one for regular price and the second for half price. So it's a really good way to kind of stock up on some of the items that belong to suites that you've been wanting to get that might be on your wish list. If you are interested, thanks, Anna. If you are interested in joining my email list, you can go to inkycreationsbylinda.com and it will give you a pop-up to join my email list, and then you can see the other items that I have each month. Just to let you know, this is the last weekend to sign up for my card kit that is using the, I think it's Kintsugi. Did I not bring the other one over here? I did not. So these are 3 of the 4 cards. Oh, here it is. This is the 4th one. You will get enough materials in this. It will include a half pack of designer series paper, a full roll of ribbon, actually 2 full rolls of ribbon, and the embellishments to make those 4 cards that I just showed. And then if you would like to craft along with me in a couple of weeks, we are going to be doing the turtles, which I think are a lot of fun. So these are the 4 cards that we will be making. And again, in all of my card kits, you get your cardstock is cut, die cut, dry embossed, and you get enough to make 2 of each card in all of my card kits. So if you are interested in those, please join my email list and you will get information with that. You can also find information for those on my website if you want to go there. If you want to place an order with me, you can do that through here. I am trying to earn the incentive trip this year. I have never done that before. So if you would like to help me do that, then please feel free to place an order. No order is too small. They all add up, which is super nice. So if you would like to help me achieve that goal, please feel free to place an order and I will send you this card kit. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I will see you next Friday at our next Facebook Live. Thanks a lot and have a great week. Bye-bye.